Welcome back to Self Love Ignited. Today on the podcast, I'm interviewing Natalie Kehren. She came on to share her story, and it is quite a story. Now, she is a Canadian holistic life coach and spiritual energy specialist, and her mission is to help women unlock their true potential by finding their voices, facing their past and present traumas, and clearing their inner debris in order to make the world a better place. Now, after going through a healing journey of her own as a survivor of addictions and abusive relationships, she merged her psychic abilities, experience, Reiki. She is a sacred women's circle creatrix, spiritual director, and she combined all of these to create a beautiful holistic life coaching practice. Now, Natalie, like I said, she has a past of addictions. She has a very traumatic childhood, some traumatic relationships, and she is now in this beautiful space where she has up-leveled and she is helping others do the same. Her story is really relatable and really inspiring, and I cannot wait for you to meet her. Here's Natalie. My name is Katie Allen, and this is Self Love Ignited. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Self Love Ignited. Today, I'm interviewing Natalie Kehren. Natalie, welcome to the podcast. Why don't you take a moment and introduce yourself to everybody?
Oh my gosh, thanks so much for having me. I'm really excited to be chatting with you today and having this conversation. I feel like we really click, so hopefully it just feels like a nice catch up between two people. I am based out of Toronto, Canada, and I have a little one who is about 2.5. And I have another one that I'm expecting 5, 6 weeks. So that's really exciting. 2 cats, and just love my business and what I do. And yeah, I'm a spiritual energy specialist. So that's what I specialize in. I'm a spiritual director, I'm a certified natural health practitioner, and a sacred woman creatrix. So with all of this, I've really fine-tuned my business and my practice into everything I love and more, and combined with my own personal journey. So it's really exciting. I'm excited to talk about energy. I really think it's the missing link, and how it's influenced my life and how it can influence everyone else's.
Yeah, that's such a good conversation to have. And we're definitely going to get into that because I think so many of us have experienced maybe like a little bit of that where, like the energy's just off, or like you're doing all the physical things, but nothing is actually
Mhm.
happening. And it's like it's the missing piece, isn't it?
It is.
In
Oh
almost
yeah.
everything.
Yeah. We need to understand it a lot with a lot more depth,
Yeah.
um, and ease and flow. And once we do that, it's so empowering. So I'm so excited to talk about that today.
Yeah. Before we get into that and the amazing work that you do, which we are totally going to get into, I want to hear a bit
Mhm.
more about you, about this woman sitting in front of me. Who is she?
Mhm.
So on this podcast, we talk a lot about self-love, obviously, it's in the title. And telling the story of where you used to be, not loving yourself, not accepting yourself, whatever that happened to look like, to where you are sitting today. So Natalie, take us back to sort of the beginning of your story. Where did your challenges
Mhm.
begin?
Oh my gosh. Can I say like millennia ago, decades, past lives before this,
Yep.
which I think that's a whole other energetic piece that I work a lot on with my clients. But um, it really does come from what lies within the soul, that's been sort of energy that's been trapped for a long time, and what we create in our life and attract to us in our life currently, um, is really that it involves very much of that. So I do believe that we come down with a choice of what we want to experience, and apparently I chose quite a lot. So it really started. My childhood was rough, to say the least, rough around the edges. And like most of us, I think so much potential in it. But with the way evolution and consciousness was and is still evolving, um, this mindfulness work that everyone's doing now was really not available, as much as it is today. So, um, coming from a childhood where my mom had 4 kids, I was I'm an Irish twin with my sister. So that means, for anyone who doesn't know, I am born before she turns 1. So I know all the moms out there are like going like, that emoji with that face, like, oh my God. As a mother, I went like, oh my God, but I really didn't understand till I had kids of my own. But so I was quite the surprise and quite a handful. Um, it took me, and what I mean by handful is took me a while to process all of that. I don't think it was until my mid to late 20s that I was able to process what that meant instead of shaming myself. So, which was a big part of my journey. Growing up, I really felt extremely sensitive to everything around me. I had the same gifts I have now with being able to read energy so fine-tunedly, being a very open portal to receive information that I didn't know how to understand or have a support for. Um, I'm feeling quite different from a lot of people that I knew, communities, schools, and I kind of knew this, but I know my mother was wonderful in terms of her support and making us feel confident, and she was really ahead of her time in the sense that she allowed us to express our freedom and our womanhood because she came from a very not so very old school Italian uh, past, or not past, but childhood or upbringing herself. So there wasn't too much room for expression.
Mhm.
And this really gets into something that I'm super passionate about right in my career, and especially right now as being a mother, is this box that we have to fit into. And it's generational. So my mother broke free of that box as much as she could.
Mhm.
And we each generation takes it a new level. So I had that support and freedom, but there still was a big lack in emotional support.
Mhm.
So I did feel quite alone, and my father was an alcoholic. So um, that played a huge role in how much attention was given to the children, what kind, and children feel everything around them just because they can't see it, they feel it. So I felt so much pain and turmoil and abuse of substances and emotional abuse and chaos, and I thought that that was totally normal until I woke up in my early 20s, and it just really simply was not normal. And I didn't understand that. So how that played out in my life is, um, so I think I started drinking when I was 12, and that was just normal.
Yeah.
And I ran with a crowd of kids that shared similar experiences. We kind of attract that to our energy. The goody two shoes, that I used to call them, like, didn't want to do anything. And I thought that that was like so not cool. And, just the whole normalcy of what was my world.
Yeah.
Um, so I did it all. I did the drinking, I did the weed smoking at an early age, I did the smoking cigarettes. I was heard the same thing my whole life in high school of, you have so much potential, but there's just no support of it. I had zero confidence. I had a shame and guilt cycle that ran through my head nonstop. I used marijuana. I think I was smoking marijuana eight or nine times a day.
Mm.
Um, in my late, I would even say grade 10, which is that's not that old here. So that you're about 15 to my mid 20s. I don't know. It stopped around 21, 22. But I just numbed out. Um, I couldn't process. I couldn't understand myself, my womanhood, my place. I always felt like there was something more for me, something bigger, a calling. Um, and really, by the grace of source, spirit, God, whatever word feels most comfortable for you, there, I was truly guided to meet people at a specific time. Um, and it just seemed that I just kept rippling into this energy even further. And I've had multiple counts of sexual abuse. And first time was around 12. Uh, and then it happens within relationship. Just because we're in a relationship doesn't mean that we can't be sexually abused.
Mm-hmm.
No means no, and sometimes that's not something that's really understood. Um, and then it all shifted in a relationship that I was in that was very tumultuous. It was just living out my normalcy of what I thought was normal, of being with somebody who was also in a shame and guilt cycle, was an addict, um, smoking weed and alcohol. I mean, there was sometimes where I wouldn't hear from him for days, and I thought that he was literally dead. Um, I found him in some really crazy scenarios where I passed out and um, literally at the bottle, and like didn't know if he had a heartbeat, and just he was awful um, to my mental health. And um, something in me in 2012 just said, this is the end of that. So um, put up some major boundaries, and I seeked help, and I slowly and surely got better. I met a wonderful person who helped me get my health back in shape and reconnected me back to my spiritual side. My spirit, I don't want to say spiritual side, I want to say back to my spirit, because it had been so locked out and so numb. Um, and I'm still working on some PTSD around sexual abuse. That's sort of really hard to get over. It's really deep in the cellular walls. So yeah, so it's been a process, and it still is a process. And even with my birth of my first son in 2020, it actually reignited a lot of the sexual abuse and this happens a lot to women on an energetic level. It kind of reopens the gates there of experiences that we've had. And I mean, if you're not really don't have a proper support in the postpartum period, or someone to go with you through your birth trauma, or even though you have postpartum depression, all of this can come flooding through, like through the gates of I don't even know, like Pandora's box. So that's something else I'm super passionate about, is helping women just navigate those waters, because sometimes I feel like there's just not enough support there. So how I got here was just I went back to school. Got educated, hated what I did. I was in like PR and marketing,
Mm-hmm.
but I had all the stars aligned. I got the job right out of university. I first internship offered me a job, one of the best PR firms in Toronto. Um, but as soon as that choice was given to me, I turned it down, and I went to school for everything I do now. And I gave myself a chance, and I believed in myself. And I was in a space at that point in my life where I just didn't want to lose life anymore. I
Mm-hmm.
thought, we can do that classic, what we're groomed to do is like, just go to school, get the job, make the money, and then figure out afterwards, what you want to do.
Yeah.
And that really didn't sit well with me at all. So um, I said, I felt like I've lost so much of life already, that in certain ways, that I no longer wanted to say no to myself and who I was. That was like banging at a door so loud, that a calling so loud, that I couldn't shut it out anymore, and I wouldn't.
Yeah.
So I made that choice, and schooling, starting an Instagram page, and then doing all my case studies, and now here I am. I mean, it's been, there's so many micro things within that, but in the grand scheme of things, that's really what it is. And everything that I offer and everything that I give, my whole business and practice is around how to empower women from very dark places, and moving through your darkness and facing your darkness and those dark parts of yourself.
Yeah.
I wish I had someone who held a torch for me in the darkness and just said, this way, come on, come on. I really had to dig deep to find that myself. And I met people along the way that did do that for me, but I mean like someone that is consciously, energetically holding space.
Mm-hmm.
And that's in a nutshell with so many inner workings and practices and things within everything I offer. That's at the essence of what I do. And until women can find their authentic voice, their light, their empowerment, and walk with just soaring, flying, finding their wings to fly,
Mm-hmm.
um, and learning about energy and um, how they can become the creators of their life. At the end of the day, anything is possible. And I know that firsthand. And I've now seen it time and time again with my clients. So it's exciting. And it's where I think we're all moving towards is this piece of energy. Everyone's using, on the streets, they call it vibes.
Yeah.
In science, they call it medicine or energy and I call it frequency. There's so many different terms and yeah, it's amazing. It's a missing link, and I'm just so happy to be able to be here, honestly.
Yeah. Yeah. You've had like what an incredible journey that you've been on, right? And
Mhm.
like you
Thank
said,
you.
you chose this. Some, a part of you chose this. Your higher self chose this, and you made quite a choice. Because
A big one, yes.
I mean, yeah, you didn't arrive, here for like a nice easy ride, but it
Um,
means that you now have the experience and the knowledge and the ability to be that person for other people, right? Like at such a young age, you up leveled in such a massive way that now
mhm.
here you are and you have the whole rest of your life to keep going. And it's like, if you've done this much so far, what else is going to happen? Doors are going to keep
Wow.
opening.
I never thought of it like that. I just got some chills. But yeah, no, really, thank you. I appreciate you sharing that with me and your wisdom because um, I feel like that's the potential of everybody. I talk about reaching our highest potential a lot and how to make the most out of this precious short snippet of time that we have.
Yeah.
And yeah, I really just, if I can do it, I know that anyone else can.
Yeah.
They just need the proper support.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hmm.
Natalie, this journey that you have been on and are still on, because, it's not over yet, does this
Hmm.
feel like a journey of self-love, or is it like self-discovery? Is it like if you had to sort of put a term to it, what feels most true to
Mm.
you?
Mm. I can't pick. I really can't pick because I feel like the journey to self-discovery has to embody self-love
Mm-hmm.
because when we're discovering and we're tripping out, like we trip over different wires or the same one multiple times in a row, it's self-love. And this is such a thing I embed into my programs is so it's self-love that picks us up again.
Yeah.
It's the parts of ourself that we never loved and are learning to love. It's the parts of ourselves or the people in our lives that we're learning to love or love so much that we lean on for support. Um, but it's really gifting ourselves with ourselves, and that's what lies within the darkness and facing it is you are really finding your inner light, and love. That frequency, they say in energy, is really the highest frequency that we can live in and breathe in and be in. um and that may sound corny, and I'm sure people have heard it 1,001 times, but it is really so true.
Yeah.
um so I really can't say it's one without the other.
Yeah. That's a beautiful answer. I like that. And I like that way of looking at it too, because I know quite a few times actually, and it used to surprise me, it doesn't anymore, but what I didn't realize when I started this podcast, when I named it, was that the actual term self-love can be quite triggering for people.
Oh
um
yeah.
like a lot, like especially when you are in that place of like self-hatred or self-loathing or whatever it happens to be, when you're really disconnected, it's like the idea of having love for yourself is so foreign and so far away and like feels impossible, that it is actually very polarizing. um So I like to ask this question because everybody has their own take on it, but I really like that it's like it is like the self-discovery to self-love. It's the tripping over all of the things that you need to get to and loving yourself through it and seeing the darkness. And like it's not some magical destination, right? It's like it is the process.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything's in the, I just know that everything's in the process. It's those, that, maybe 2 year period of that really icky, stuck feeling, trying to figure it out. That's where we're learning. It's the process. That's where we shift our energy the most. It's not when everything's going amazing and we're like doing all the rituals every day and everything's great. Like it's really, that's amazing for expansion and expression. That's very important. But it really is, the growth lies within the dark parts,
Yeah.
the dark moments, the ones that are harder and super uncomfortable. Because if you know change, the brain does not like change, and the ego, the energy of the ego really hates it. So it's gonna resist and resist and resist.
Yeah.
And there's certain practices you can put in place that help you transmute that energy into showing up, and then slowly but surely you've really reprogrammed your energy in a whole new way, and then
Yeah.
your life starts to match that. So in terms of what you track to yourself and what you call into yourself. So yeah, I 100% agree about the process.
Yeah. Yeah. Since you said sort of 2012 was like the beginning of the big shift for you, right? I think you said 2012.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yep.
I'm curious, what like tools or practices or like what has been most impactful, I guess, for you on your own personal journey? Where like meditation, is it working with, another mentor or a coach? Like what did that look like for you on a really tangible, practical level?
Okay. So I'm going to put it down, I think, to top three,
Yeah.
because I think that though that's pretty concrete, and yeah, I think that that's the best way for me to articulate it.
Okay.
Because there were many, many, many moments and many, many, many things.
Yeah.
Um, I found number one was transmuting my physical energy and my release of everything that I was holding on to inside through movement. So that was through working out diligently, and it the pendulum swung a little bit the other way, where I was like in the gym 6 days a week. You could not stop me, because it was shifting my energy and releasing me, and the anger that it was just me just processing and laying it all out there, as well as shifting my body, and the way it showed up to a very optimal state. And that helped me. The second thing has to be nutrition, because I totally changed the way that I ate. I slowly stopped drinking. I slowly stopped smoking. I slowly stopped indulging in weed. And I started moving into a space of honoring myself through the dedication of a practice of moving my body, and how I felt so good. I didn't need anything else after that. It felt like, except for connection with people and all that, but I meant like on like a purely brain chemical feeling really good standpoint,
Yeah.
um, because I was using other things to do that.
Yeah.
That just drew me further and further away from myself. And the third thing is seeking help, someone to talk to. Um, and through that, I learned boundaries, and boundaries is what everyone loves that word or hates that word. It's really such a journey, because most of us come from boundaryless places
Yeah.
and upbringings, and because the consciousness and the way of thought, when at least my generation was growing up, and the bulk of our generation didn't have so many concrete boundaries and mindfulness.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to really carve those out, and I would say that would be my third one, um, because boundaries is what helped me carve out time for meditation and time for choosing a career and going back to school when I had everything lined up for me. You can imagine what people said, or my parents, or I had to put up what they said when I made that choice. I had to put up boundaries to get there. So drowning out the noise. So I would say those are the top three. So maybe there's four in there, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, right? Like there's always multiple things and they all overlap. But I think too, when there's somebody, who's maybe at the beginning of this journey going like, I don't even know where to start. Like I know I'm in this dark
Yeah.
place and I don't know where to start. It's like sometimes we just need that, right? Like the concrete, the foundations, move your body, eat really well, get support, get your boundaries.
Yeah.
Like, and when you say it
Yeah.
like that, it's like, oh, well, that's easy. It's not easy. Like those are all quite challenging things, but also all very doable things.
Yeah. The everyday things.
Yeah.
It's the consistency. It's not about doing all the things at once. It's about just starting, showing up for that one thing. And then when you feel really good about that and you've broken through that resistance is energy. If once you've broken through that energetic pattern,
Yeah.
then you can move to the next thing. So it's just choosing your your forte, what you feel like is going to be best suited for you.
Totally. Totally. Yeah. Now that you're in this space, how is
Mm-hmm.
your mental health, your like overall well-being, your mental and emotional health? How is that different now than how it used to be?
Oh my God. Oh gosh. I mean, I really think they're not comparable. I I don't, yeah, they're really different. I used to have a lot of anxiety and depression and um, worried, just a tremendous amount.
Mm,
Um, and now I can just say clarity. Um, there's a sense of clarity just every day, a sense of groundedness coming from heart center, uh, being present in my everyday moments, which is one major part of my practice is just being present to what I'm picking up on around me and what I'm being guided to do next, um, which is a huge foundation for me. So it's dramatically different, drastically different. I'm sure if you took a brain scan of me then and took a brain scan of me now, those two brains would look very different. And that's the amazing thing about this work is
yeah.
because you actually can get a brain scan, do a bunch of work, and then even a year later see even 6 months later, if you're consistent, see the difference in your brain. You would notice a massive one.
Yeah.
Um, so yeah, and I know the things and the foods that cause a little bit, inflammation, which causes anxiety, and I don't sleep well. So it's really this like devotion to getting to know yourself in a whole new way, and then you just sort of be present because you shift and evolve
Yeah.
to what you need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love that word that you just used, devotion. Devotion to getting to
Mm-hmm.
know yourself. That seems like just that word. There's something about that word that's very like divine and sacred. And,
Yeah.
it would be easy in a sentence like that to say like this commitment or this, like, which is like a thing that you have to do. Whereas a
Mm-hmm.
devotion is like this beautiful thing that you get to do, that you're privileged to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. Yeah. I love that insight. That's you're tapping into the frequency of each word.
Mm.
So, and devotion is so much different than commitment for sure.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. How has this journey, self love, self discovery, all of the above, how has this influenced your journey into entrepreneurship and how you show up as an entrepreneur in the world?
Hmm. Everything that I needed. Everything that I needed in those moments. Um, so when I'm on in session or on call, um, I think like, what did I need and what was I moving through? And I have quite a variety to to tap back into, which is
Yeah.
kind of what it feels like. It feels like a literal another life.
Yeah.
Um, I've really separated myself so much from it. Um, but it's great because it's a library of things to tap into. So when I'm on the phone, I could say, you know, I can understand it a lot better.
Yeah.
And then I just show up in the space. Um, and I would say two ways through that way where I can be open, like hold the space of nurturing and understanding
Mm-hmm.
and helping them transmute energy through me, which is kind of like a whole other topic, but essentially like a portal opens when we're talking and when we're in session so that stuff can come in
Mm-hmm.
that we need to know, and stuff can exit of what we no longer need. So I open myself up that way. And then the second thing would be reading the woman that I'm working with and just honoring her sacredness and her journey. So reading her energy and that helps me understand how to show up for her.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people like to hear things really black and white. Sometimes people need a lot more space and love. Um, so I show up in those moments, but it's really from a space of just holding space and honoring what is, giving as much information and knowledge and teachings as I can.
Mm-hmm.
And my journey led me here because everything I've been through taught me one thing. Oh, many things, but one main thing is human beings undoubtedly need one another to survive. And not just survive, I don't use the word survive, I mean thrive.
Yeah.
Because we together, our energies can do so much. Like portals opening and connection is so healing, and laughing with someone is amazing, and just having somebody hear you and hold space for you and make you feel safe. That's a big thing that I help my clients do, is I create a safe container for them to explore their darkness, where they don't feel like they're going to fall off the edge or lose themselves or things get too overwhelming. um yeah, that's really what I can say on that.
Yeah, yeah, that's incredible. This work that you do with women, is this typically in a one-to-one container, or do you have group offerings as well?
So right now it's in a one-to-one container. It's
Mm-hmm.
funny you say groups. I've had like different inclinations recently to do more group work, but taking just maybe like a small intimate group and doing a really great program, because I'm smiling because group work is incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
So I'm hoping to move into a space at some point where I can facilitate workshops that people come to attend, because I cannot tell you right now, in the time that we have, the power of group work and what that does. And like if one portal's open between me and someone else, and when you put women together, this is a whole other topic, but we are incredibly synced and incredibly powerful.
Yeah.
This is why we were oppressed in the history of women, is because this was so tangible and so known that, it was fear of what would happen when women gather together. Well, a whole freaking
A
lot
lot.
happens when we gather. Yeah. So
Yeah.
now that we're regathering, I'm hoping to hold that space and house events, specifically themed for tapping into intuition or reading energy or whatever it is. So right now, one-on-one container, which I'm really enjoying.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully in the future, moving to a more workshop based, whether that's in person or online, in group work, because it's amazing.
Yeah, that is amazing. You talking about that, I totally got like full like goosebumps, like full body shivers, because it's true. Like when women gather, there's some magic there. Like
Oh
there
yeah.
there there is something, especially when you come together with a very specific intention, right?
Oh
Like
gosh, yeah.
like there is magic that happens. But that being said, in that one-to-one space, I don't think there's anything quite as safe as a one-to-one space, right? Like that
Hmm.
is a sacred, safe container. And I think there are times that we need that, and there are times that we need the collective energy,
Oh
right?
yeah, I totally agree with that. Yeah, I love that. I love that perspective and that wisdom. Thank you. Yeah, there is definitely a beautiful safety within the relationship that's developed and the journey that we go on. And I like it because there's a customization. We can
Yes.
really refine everything. I have my 8 steps that are perfectly in place. I actually channeled them a while ago and put it into a program. And I just said, what would people need? What's the best thing, mixed in with my experience and everything that I've learned through schooling. But although there's the 8 steps, there's this that hold us and like have a great foundation for the container. we really move in the ways that the woman needs. Sometimes people want to focus a lot more on their intuition. Some people want to focus a lot more on release or heightening their, abilities. So, amongst postpartum and just so
Yeah.
many different areas, that women need freaking support. They need it in this way because we are the closest thing to source and energy. We literally are a portal to the other side by
Mhm.
we have the ability to birth souls from one space to another. So why we're so powerful in workshops, but really why we need this type of support,
Yeah.
and understanding just how infinitely powerful we are.
Mm, mm. I have never thought about the portal in that way, literally birthing a soul from the others.
Yeah.
Like I don't have children, so I've probably thought a little bit less about this than than mums out there, but I've never thought about that. That is incredible. Like
Oh
that
yeah,
that our bodies can do that.
oh, but it just okay. Yes, it's incredible that our bodies can physically do that,
Yeah.
but every woman moves through the stage of motherhood, whether you
Yeah.
have four stages of a woman's life. Everyone moves from maiden to motherhood in their mid 20s, whether you're having a baby physically or not. We're birthing ideas, we're birthing consciousness, we're birthing um, evolution, we're birthing new ways of thinking, we're birthing projects, we're birthing podcasts, we're birthing businesses, we're birthing the new.
Yeah.
So the more that we understand that, the more that we aren't afraid of that and stop suppressing it, and fall back into the chains that we were put into from our lineages and our history,
Hmm.
um, the more incredibly healing our experiences and really the whole world will be.
Wow. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That is amazing. That's amazing. Natalie, if somebody's listening and
Mm-hmm.
they maybe are in this space where they're feeling a little lost or they're still in that dark space and they know that they want to do something, but they don't sort of know, there's so many things out there. If you could sort of bring it down and give them one suggestion for one practice, one exercise,
Mm-hmm.
one thing that they can do just like as a step one, what is it that you would recommend, do you think?
Mm. Um, I'm going to go back to my top two.
Hmm.
If physical movement is something, I'm going to say physical movement because that's something that's so accessible now with all of these at-home workouts, and just walking is a great thing. So I'm going to say physical movement if there's a lot you need to process. So if there's a lot you need to release, I'm going to say physical movement because it's very practical. You just need 15 to 20 minutes a day and make it very intentional. Um, the second thing, if physical music movement isn't an accessible thing for you, for whatever reason, I'm gonna say focusing on food. I really believe that food is medicine. How we feel in our bodies, how we feel when we eat things, and setting intentions around that too. Um, and if both of those don't resonate, then the most finite thing you can do is go to the core of everything, which is energy,
Hmm.
and setting guiding your energy every day and every moment of how you want it to look and how you want it to feel that day, instead of focusing on all the shit that can go wrong, excuse my language. Focusing on everything that can go right. We're like waking up and saying, today I want to experience joy. I'm going to experience joy. I will be full of joy, guiding the energy. You're already, and then just reminding yourself, energy follows intention. I cannot say that enough of how true that is, but you can practice it, like don't believe me, try it out.
Mm.
Um, Guide your energy every day, be present, and just shift your thoughts to something that you want to see happen, not what you don't.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. And it's so easy. I think so many people are in the pattern of the opposite, right?
Yes.
We look, and I definitely used to be, and I think, most of us are at some point in life. Like we look for the opposite. We're just expecting the bad stuff or expecting the hard stuff. But I love
Hmm.
that. Energy follows intention. So set your
Yeah,
intention and then the
be
energy will naturally
intentional.
follow. Yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it'll follow. Yeah, just keep going. And it's kind of like one of those scenarios where fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
So if you like don't believe exactly what you're saying, I promise you, if you keep embodying that and keep showing up and being diligent,
Mm-hmm.
some people put reminders on their phone. I know somebody that puts it as their phone background, buys a poster, does a painting, does something every day to remind themselves of a fundamental thing they want to change, um, and keeps their energy focused on there.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Um,
Yeah.
Natalie, if listeners want to find out more about the work that you do, if they want to find out about
Mhm.
working with you, if they want to connect with you, where is the best place for them to do that?
So Instagram is really my jam. It's my home. I mean, I'm not going to say it's my jam because I haven't figured it out to save my life, but um it's always changing, but it's and I used to not want Instagram at all. But anyways, that's where my house is. That's where I live.
Okay.
If you want to connect with me, and just see more about me, read a little bit more, get some details, follow along, be part of the community, um, and see all the offerings. And then just through my website is another spot you can read a little bit more. But really, if you have more questions, the best thing to do is book. I offer a free breakthrough session where it's just 1 hour of one on one safe container discussion, you sharing as much of your story as you want to share, me
Mm-hmm.
holding space, and us just connecting and starting there and seeing how we both um, feel in each other's space, if someone wants to learn more. So that's really my main spots of where to find me.
Beautiful. Okay. And I'm going to make sure that those are in the show notes. So it's really, really easy to click on through. And I have to say, your Instagram is fabulous. I was totally on there
Oh, thank you.
before we started recording today.
Thank you. It took a while to get there, but
Yeah.
and a help from a great team, but it just that algorithm always changes, and I know that every entrepreneur who's on Instagram is like, I know. So
Yep.
so yeah, we're all in it together, really.
Totally. Totally. We all are.
Yeah.
All
Oh
right.
yeah.
All right. This conversation has been fabulous. And I'm just curious, is there anything else that you feel called to share before we wrap up? Is there any last bits of wisdom or insight or anything else
Mm,
on your heart that wants to be brought out today?
mm. I don't know why, but I'm going to say it anyways because usually there's somebody or a multitude of people who are going to hear this that need to. Um, it sounds so random. Um, Focus on your sleep because it is the foundation of you being present in your everyday, of your health, of your connection to yourself, um, and just grounding into that space. This has been a very, um, and it came through again right now. It's been a very hot topic, I want to say, with a lot of people I've been connecting with. So sleep is like a beautiful, safe space to process. So give yourself that space, especially if you're energetically sensitive, which we all really are, um, to just rest and give yourself love in that way.
Yeah. Yeah. That's beautiful. I love that.
We're
Thank you.
really random, but yeah, hope it
But
helps somebody out there.
that's why I asked the question though, right? Because it's like quite often that one little thing will come through and it's not a logical thing, but it's like someone needs this.
No, never.
So here it is.
Yeah,
Here it is. Yeah. That's
yeah.
beautiful. All right. Natalie,
And
thank you.
you'll oh, you're welcome. I was gonna say you'll know it because it'll just be like, yep, that one's for me. So
Yeah. Yeah, it just drops, right?
yeah,
Like
thank you
you
so much.
feel it.
Oh yeah.
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 All right. Yeah. Thank you. It's like, thank you for coming on today. Thank you for sharing your personal story with us, as well as like some of your wisdom and your insight. And I love what you're doing in the world. And please keep doing it. Please keep doing it. I look forward to
Oh,
seeing more.
same to you. Yeah, same to you. This was such a beautiful conversation, and thanks to everyone listening and sharing your energy with me and yours with mine as well. So thank you.